Hey guys, this is Coach Swift on Score Points Daily. Wanted to make a post, or a video, excuse me. Following up my post I made this morning about RPOs. Now, I want to be able to go and we're going to teach you how to build your own RPO. It's basically the title of this video. Now, I haven't really done an RPO video on this channel, besides I did the little pre-snap RPOs that we had on the inside zones. But this one is an actual true RPO read. Um, and basically, I'm going to teach you how to run an RPO. So I want to go ahead and go say that there are different types of ways you can do RPOs. Uh, I've seen a lot of coaches, they do it a different way. They do like a little inside zone out of 10 personnel, and they read like the Mike linebacker, or they'll do like an outside zone concept reading the backside. They'll throw like a slant or something. Generally, I don't teach it that way, because that's just not where I'm at now. Obviously, I could see the benefit of having like a jet sweep. You can do like a jet sweep and throw a backside slant or something like that. But other than that, I'm not really much of a 10 personnel RPO guy. I like RPOs where we can be C gap to C gap protected. We can have everyone blocked in the box. That's just a central tenet of what I've learned. So, uh, so everything I've telling you about RPOs, I basically give you the lowdown of what Brent Dearman gives you. Um, just twisting it a little bit. I'm actually teaching you how to build your own RPO. For those who don't know, Brent Dearman was my mentor at Arkansas Tech, and I learned everything about RPOs from him. I guess, ironically enough, besides the RPO I'm going to show you today, I didn't actually learn this one from him. I learned it from another team. But basically, in these RPOs, you want to start out with 20 personnel. You want to be C gap to C gap protected. So you typically have the H-back blocking somebody. So you could do either an inside zone, like I showed you in the previous video. You can do buck sweep, GH counter, power, like I have drawn up here. I normally would recommend GT. I don't really like GT out of 20 personnel. Mainly just it seems a little bit combobulated with this little area right here, with the triangle right here. Unless you had him like go back. I don't really see the purpose of running GT if we already got GH, but that's just me. Um, but anyways, so basically, you want to start out with a C gap to C gap run play. Any C gap to C gap run play, as long as just focus on this area right here, the box, right here, the box between your tackle to tackle. Don't even focus on anything else. We don't need anything else. Okay. The next thing that you need is a quick game concept. Now, it could be a 2 receiver concept or it could be a 1 receiver concept. It really doesn't matter. Just basically what you're doing now, I got to draw this up carefully because it actually stopped my recording. I'm actually going to record this again. So I'm drawing it up like a snag concept. Well, that actually turned out well. So this is like your snag concept right here. So you can have this little snag concept right here. And then you're going to read this Sam linebacker right here for that read. Okay. And that goes into the third part of the RPO that you need is a D-gap read. Now, what we classify as a D-gap, let me go ahead and I'm going to erase these. So what we classify as a D-gap is the area between the tackle and the nearest receiver. So we have the D-gap player, in this case, would be, so we'll say it's like cover 2 on this side. So the D-gap on this case would be this corner. And And when we're talking about the D gap, we want to focus on who's going to be the most dangerous person to stop the run play. That's the person we're trying to avoid and read on this. Um, so we'll just say, okay, theoretically, we'll come back and we'll say, we'll back up here. We're normal coverage here, so we'll say he rolls down, so it's like a cover 3 or whatever. Um, but we'll leave him up here. So whoever is the run stopper that's in the alley, that is your D gap player. So typically, you're going to see this in alignment purposes. Whoever's going to be closer pre-snap, or they may do a shift where they'll come in ready, set, and then like shift him down or whatever. But obviously, on the field side, you're going to see it's pretty obvious because you'll either see. Typically on these, you'll probably see a 3-receiver concept, or excuse me, a 2-receiver concept. You'll see 3/2, and that could come in the looks of key coverage, which is what you're seeing here. The inside linebacker, or the same linebacker, excuse me, is inside the free safety, and the free safety is like over number 2. Or this is going to be your palms coverage. This is kind of like cover 4, and you're going to have this free safety here in the alley. Now, let me go ahead. I'm going to have to really explain this. So there's going to be the coaches that are going to watch this video and be like, Coach, these RPOs are too complicated for my kids to learn. Well, Coach, let me throw it back to you. This is no different than running zone read. If you teach your kids and really push on your kids to run zone read, this is essentially the same thing. Now, there is a general little tenet on this. One, it really depends on what run play you have, because let me go ahead and I'll go into this. So, if you have a gap run play, a gap scheme run play, so we have power right here. There's going to be a gap that's opened, and so it's power right here. It's going to be this gap that's right. Oh shoot! I meant to draw that up. So it's going to be right up here. This gap right here is going to be the one we consider the hot gap. So this is the one that you're going to say, okay, if you get any type of blitz or any of this, will linebacker comes through that crap and blows up your play, that's not good. So we have to have something that accounts for him. So we go to your X receiver. So your X receiver is going to have a multitude of different routes they can do. At Arkansas Tech, we did choice routes, which the quarterback could give them a route, and basically a hot route. So you can run like a go, you can run like an out route, or what he did most of the time is he either ran a slant, or he could just simply run a hitch. Well, I know that'll be a deeper hitch than that, but you get the general tenets on that. So you need a blitz, I call this a blitz control route, and that's generally what you can hear in passing offenses is a blitz control route. That's essentially what you need here, because the will linebacker comes through, blows up your run play, and that's not good. But you can generally avoid that if you go into zone scheme run plays, which are your inside zone, your C gap to C gap covered. You're not leaving a gap uncovered. The general benefits of the gap scheme run plays on RPOs is the linebackers tend to pull more a little bit inside, so they're not going to be able to go out wide to stop your run play, or excuse me, your pass play. So, those are the 3 general tenets of this. So you need a run play, so you can go gap scheme or zone. As long as you're C gap to C gap protected, you don't have to do like a read option or anything like that. Your quarterback, you can do that, but it would have to be in the form of like a triple option, to be honest with you. which it can happen because, again, we had it on the dash play on whatever thousands of videos ago. Um, you also need a quick game concept or a route. In this case, in this video, I'm really going to cover it's more of a quick game concept. And then the last one you'll need is a read. So, and this is typically going to be your D-gap player. Um, and it's pretty easy to identify that if you go through. Oh shoot, I'm on arrow. Let me go back to drag. So, okay, so we're gonna say here. All right. So this is an RPO that I actually took. I wish we could have really ran it more, to be honest. But basically, this is the RPO right here. So you're going to have the Y. He's going to run a clear. I call this pretty much a clearing route. So here's the reason why we're doing this. Because we're doing we're running this against a defense. This is called key coverage. And what key coverage means is that this corner right here, he's going to break if there's any type of out route, any bubble. He is keying the number 2 receiver. And so if we're running a vertical route, well, this means that the corner is going to run vertical as well. Simple, right? So having him go vertical instead of, this is pretty much flipping these two responsibilities, actually. So what we're doing here is he's running vertical, and this Z receiver is actually going to run I pretty much call it a box concept, but it's kind of like dagger if you really want to go to the old man terms. But this is the dagger concept, so we're both running vertical, and then this one breaks at about 5 yards. And what you're doing is you're going to read the Sam linebacker here on power. So if you see here, he's going to come down and stop that. Well, that's a perfect, excuse me, he's going to come down and stop this power. Well, you can see already we're going to have a perfect little lane behind him on this little box route. So, let me throw it right behind him. Now, let me go back to this point because there's going to be some coach on Twitter who's going to hit me up. Actually, there's not typically. But this would be one of those where the coach would hit me up on DMs and be like, Coach, what if this guy, okay, so this guy's back here. So we're back in Palms coverage. So the D-gap player is this really high player. Coach, are we going to still read this box concept reading that Sam linebacker? Well, no. You know why? It's because he is not the D-gap run fitter. The D-gap run fitter is this free safety up here. And so he's going to have to come all the way down to stop this run. Basically, this Y is now clearing the Sam linebacker for this box concept. And so, if you see this is Palms coverage, and I'm just going to give you a basic little hint. If you're running an RPO versus this, it should be a give. Now, again, you can have different little RPOs where you can read that guy and, run these, like, deep little posts and stuff. I mean, and there are those that we ran at Tech, but typically, again, if we're going to have a safety that's 10 yards back, like this, then honestly, I wouldn't see any benefit in running those RPOs. I would just hand the ball off. So, Coach, you're going to say, okay, Coach, who's the D-gap read on this? So you call this in a game. And it's like, okay, who's my quarterback going to read? Well, your quarterback's going to read this high safety, but the high safety is 10 yards back. It's just going to be an automatic handoff. I wouldn't see any purpose in running an RPO reading this high safety. So ideally, we're trying to read this versus a Sam linebacker that's actually close to the box. It's kind of the same on if we're, okay, so say, we'll pretend this is something else. So we're running a post route or something. Now, again, we wouldn't really run a post route towards the side. But okay, so say we're running a post route or whatever, and you say again, coach, who is the D gap run fitter on this? I'm like, well, it's likely going to be. I mean, it could depend. You know, you could have a corner playing really low or whatever. But again, the D gap run fitter on this is really far out wide, and honestly, I don't see them making a play on power. Or, you know, you could do a basic inside run, or you could do split zone, or GT or GH counter. You know, so again, it's really reading those alleys, I would say. Not necessarily reading the D gap player, because again, if the D gap player is out of position, like this corner, like, okay, it's cover two, like, do you really think he's going to be able to make a hard play on this? No, he's not. Okay, at 10 yards down here, unless you see him, like, really flying down, is he really going to make a play on this power? No. And eventually, at some point, it's going to be up to the running back to make a guy miss. It doesn't matter what type of scheme. I'm just going to break it to you, coaches. You probably already know this way more than I do because I'm pretty young at this. It doesn't matter what type of scheme that you come up for a run play or whatever. You're always going to have to make somebody miss. Unfortunately, that's the reality of life because there's not enough people blocking for you. You would have to have 2 additional blockers on this. So, but a 15-yard run is pretty successful too. Or, you know, depending how fast the safety comes down, a 6 or 7-yard run on an RPO is a win. So, again, when you're building these RPOs, again, I'm going to remember that you need a blitz control route on this backside to whatever backside. This is your pre-snap right here. So you see, okay, you have either him, he's coming down hard in the gap, or you'll have him coming hard to do like a blitz or whatever, and then maybe back him up or do something. Okay, then that's where you hit your hot slant right here. You know, so you need a blitz control route, but then post snap, the post snap side is where you turn your who you actually turn towards. The pre snap, you have your back to him. You're already done. Final. There is no. The pre snap is going to be catch and throw. The post snap is going to be actually reading and writing the mesh. So you have to make that decision pretty quick. But again, if you don't feel comfortable with your quarterback and reading those pre-snap reads, I would just simply go to an inside zone concept to where you can just read one side. You don't have to do a backside read as much. It would be much easier to do that and protects your run play in the long run. So, but anyways, this was a RPO that I saw, and I really liked it. So basically, the Sam linebacker bites down to stop this power. Then you can throw this box concept behind him. Basically, this is your clear route. And since the number 2 receiver is going vertical, this corner is going to backpedal as well, providing an open box window. And since it's an in-breaking route, it's pretty short and easy completion. So, but guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and the explanation. This is called How to Build Your Own RPO. Again, you can do this a bunch of different ways. As long as you keep the formula C-gap run play, a C-gap to C-gap run play, quick game concept, and you have a D-gap read, you can create any type of RPO you want. You can do add any motions or anything like that. So, thank you guys. Give me a follow on Twitter, Coach_Swift81, and I'll see y'all next time.